Yeah, so if you revise like literature about what is leadership and how it evolved over time, you will discover that it changed from being like the boss who give orders and commands to be a more friendly personnel who allows team engagement. But before we go deeper, I would like to emphasize how this like topic would be of interest to you, no matter what is your industry. So actually, we are leaders in situations throughout our life, whether we recognize it or not. So whether you are a leader in your family, whether you are a leader in a university assignment, whether you have an official leadership position, in one way or another, you will need your leadership skills to be developed. Not only it will impact your whole character, but it will definitely make you a better fit for daily situations where you take informal leadership positions. So if you're not in official leadership positions, definitely also this presentation would be of interest to you. So one of the most new and innovative leadership styles that are currently being advocated and endorsed is called transformation leadership. Also, I would like to ask you another questions. Any ideas the term transformational might add to the leadership role?
When I think of transformational, it's kind of like someone that, like the leader helps to change the outcome in some way. Either they do something to change the current environment.
Yeah, you actually like said it all. So transformational leadership, let me see. Okay, can you see my screen now changing? Okay, so transformational leadership is given the acronym 4 I's. So it involves 4 components that start with an I: inspirational motivation, idealized influence, intellectual stimulation, and individualized consideration. Let's go through these like step by step. So inspirational motivation, the leader put his followers as a primary interest. So job satisfaction of his subordinates became a priority. So he articulates the vision of the organization he is working for together to motivate his followers. Usually this is overlooked in our like most of companies or workplaces because the leaders tend to think that our main goal is to achieve the outcomes, to finish reports, to improve, for example, our statistics, but never the lifestyle or the mental health of the followers or the employees are put into priority. Second thing is idealized influence. In other words, it's leading by example. So whenever you say, we all in companies say like or workplace cultures that we put ethics and our values and we are going to abide them all over our work. But actually, if a leader is not leading this by example, this will create a confusion, and usually like employees will start to disrespect him. So there must be an alignment between the actions and the sayings. So a transformational leader inspires respect and trust through high ethical standards. The third component is intellectual stimulation. Whether you noticed it or not, whenever you are in a workplace doing a job, if you didn't feel you're adding your contribution to the job progress or the workflow, you will gradually feel dissatisfied with the job. So it is a transformational leader responsibility to highlight or mark your contribution. So your work is not routine, but actually without you, the work will not go. So you are a core as an employee or as a team member, your work or your contribution is indispensable. The last component is individualized consideration. Usually, we are in workplaces with diverse communities. And whether we have like family emergencies or individual considerations related to your ethnicity or background, a transformational leader should put this into consideration. So for example, in Australian workplace cultures, they have very diverse communities. And they are like used to hierarchical workplace culture where they refer to their boss with titles. In Australia, for example, the situation is different. The situation is more friendly and flattened, and you like call your boss with his first name. So this difference in workplace culture, this individual consideration should be taken into account. If someone is going to this workplace culture newly, he will feel not comfortable to do the norm of this culture. So as an employee, it's your role to acknowledge to your boss or to your team leader that you're not comfortable with something, you are not able to mingle with the team smoothly. And also it is the responsibility of the leader himself to start having this intelligence to recognize employees or team members who are not going on or engaging well with the team. So transformational leadership is introducing how to boost job satisfaction and considers the employee lifestyle as a priority. Later, we'll discuss a team. So whenever you are in a team, whether also as a member or leading this team, you will recognize that your team passed through 4 stages. And actually, these stages are must, whether you recognize them or not. And the duration of each stage differs depending on how rapid you will reach the harmony. So it starts with forming, storming, norming, and performing, and it ends with adoring, but we will focus only on the first 4. So here we see a graph showing when time, how team engagement progress and how it affects the performance. Before explaining each stage, I would like to ask you, does the title of these stages resonate with you in one way or another? Have you ever thought of a team to pass through these 4 stages? What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I'm just writing.
No
Michael.
worries. So, Holly, Rachel, any insights? Have you ever been a team and you noticed that you passed through stages till you managed to work in harmony together?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I can see the forming stage, just with the places that I've worked. I work in customer service right now. And if the team isn't all working together right, or they don't hire someone that necessarily believes in the company's culture or just the company's culture, we can't all work together correctly. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, of course.
So it's just important to find people that all work well together.
Okay, I like your insights. So let's go to in details how stages. So forming, during which you build interpersonal relationships with your peers and you become familiar with the assigned tasks. Then after that, whether you noticed or not, when you familiarize yourself with the environment, you start to being sticking to your opinions and not accepting others' opinions easily. So we pass through intra-group conflict due to lack of group unity, during which team members see themselves as individuals rather than part of a team. So they may resist the information of group structure in favor of expressing their individuality. So actually, I used to overlook this stage, and I was thinking that it is to be a good team, you will never pass through a storming stage. And if you pass through this stage, so you are less likely to work together in the future. When I studied in details, I discovered depending on how you approach this storming stage, in other words, this conflict stage, you will decide whether it will be a constructive or a destructive conflict. And it always returns back to the values of the team or how much you like respect others' opinions, and you will regard this like conflict stage as temporarily. So after passing successfully through the storming stage, you will pass through the norming, where like harmony will start and members begin to openly express ideas and opinions, and members begin to accept teammates for who they are, and tasks related to conflicts are avoided in an effort to preserve harmony. Personally, being a leader of one of the student organizations, I was passing through a storming stage, but gladly it went really short, to the extent that I didn't believe that storming stage can pass this really easily. As time passes, members will start to recognize like challenges other team members might vision early. This will help to like share perspective, and this storming stage to pass through norming emphasize the importance of communication. So without open, transparent, safe communication, storming is more likely to be destructive than constructive and proceeds through norming. Finally, we're reaching to the performing stage, where you start to be productive, you start to achieve like the purpose of your team. So members demonstrate support for each other and assume roles that will enhance task activities. Constructive attempts are made to resolve any issues related to the completion of the task. When you join a new team, you usually focus yourself on the performing stage, where you would like to prove yourself. I want to like be an active member. I want to like prove myself in my place. But bear in mind that without passing through the first three stages, you will not be comfortable contributing in the last stage. So speak to your leader, or as a leader, speak to your members and have this knowledge of team forming and performing, so that you will not be surprised and depict any conflict, as it means like we can no longer be in a team together. One of the latest like approaches or frameworks that has been introduced recently to prepare leaders is called LEADS framework. It was mainly established for Australian health systems, but of course it can be like implemented in different industries. So LEADS is an acronym for abbreviation, which is L, lead self, E, engage others, A, achieve results, D, develop coalitions, S, systems transformations. We will not go into the details of all of this, but we will focus on the L, which is lead self. A leader must first have self-control and be aware of his own strengths and weaknesses, so he can be an efficient and effective leader. So to go to engage others, which make like team members engaging more in work, more like not like objecting his opinions a lot. And of course, after that, they will achieve the results of their mission. And maybe when they progress further, they will develop partnerships, which on the broader perspective will achieve a system or an industry transformation. As you can see in this like diagram, without the lead self, you will not progress to the system transformation. So let's discuss each in details more. So lead self is about self-awareness, to manage yourself and to develop your skills and to demonstrate your character in terms of you look in the mirror, you are aware of who you really are. What are your weaknesses? Not to know like their weakness or shortcomings in you, but to be able to adapt and tailor your potential to your role. After that, you will need like, as a consequence, you will engage others. Engaging others means like contribute to the creation of healthy organizations. One of the newest terms nowadays is psychological safety. So you are able to criticize policies, to criticize decisions by your leader, and at the same time, this does not like jeopardize or risk your job career. And of course, build teams in the end. Thirdly, achieve results. It should be like aligned. the way you do your work or the way you want to achieve will be aligned with the organization vision and evidence and value. So if there's a conflict, you will not be able to contribute and achieve results in your organization. Develop solutions like purposely build partnership and networks to create results. System transformation, which is like support innovative approaches within your industry. As I told you, we'll not go deeper into this. We will focus on self-awareness, which is a component of lead self, which is the first pillar of lead's framework. Self-awareness is very like a broad term, and it can never be discussed in like a single meeting. But we will focus on 3 aspects of it: emotional intelligence, locus of control, tolerance of ambiguity. Before we proceed further and discover what are these terms mean, I would like to know from you, like, what does this terms like mean to you? Have you ever thought about it? And do you think you are competent in these skills or these aspects of self-awareness or not? Any insights here? I can see like you're doing a lot of thinking. I'm glad of that.
I'll jump in. Emotional intelligence for me is being sensitive to others' feelings without it taking over your own personal. For example, if someone is not feeling well that day, we want to be empathetic, not necessarily sympathetic. We have to be careful because it can influence our work ethics. So if someone is not feeling well, instead of bringing it out open in front of everyone, is to talk to them privately and see how they're feeling and let them know you care and see if you can support them and help them in any way without embarrassing them in front of others. I think that's a type of emotional intelligence.
Perfect. Any more comments? Okay, regarding, so Rachel, I have a question for you. Do you think emotional intelligence is more focused on others' feeling? Does it have to relate to you or by one way or another, or it's only related to other people?
I think emotional intelligence we all have it. We're all emotional beings, but we have to be careful not to take our emotions and put it into theirs because they could feel completely different than we do. So we have to respect our teammates' emotional side. And again, if there's a conflict, is to be open enough and professional enough to share our feelings without it persuading or without you interjecting your emotional feeling on them. So each situation is different. And that's why I brought up that example of the person who might not be feeling well. So there's the physical, they're feeling drained. Maybe they had something happen to them in their life. We need to be empathetic towards what's going on in their life. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So with locus of control, how do you like phrase it in your own words? Any thoughts here? Tolerance of ambiguity. Okay.
I think locus of control can be for self-awareness internal as opposed to external. So you're not letting external things that are going wrong affect you in negative ways. You're able to overcome that and kind of keep the team together and still be able to engage in your emotional intelligence. So that's kind of more how I see locus of control is self-awareness is based more internally as opposed to externally.
Okay, so this is a different perspective. Okay, anyone would like to comment on tolerance of ambiguity? Okay, I see like no further insights here. So most of you, yes, you described the first 2 terms correctly, but it has more deeper meaning. So emotional intelligence is not only about recognizing indirect or unspoken emotions of people in front of you, but it's also to be aware of your own feelings, inner feelings. Sometimes we as human never give attention to ourselves a lot in terms of what are we currently feeling now. So you are in a work situation or a meeting and you feel you're not contributing well. Maybe some inner feeling you has may make you like maybe like problems at home or something like that. Being able to discover your own inner self feeling is must be like reached first before you be able to discover the inner feelings of your followers or team members. In my opinion, to discover your own inner feelings and control them, not only discover them, are more challenging than recognizing emotions of others. Because others, we learn by practice every day. Okay, I know my team member, when he does this like gesture or do this kind of act, this means like he's mad. He's not like satisfied with his contribution as in the meantime. So you gradually learn to discover the characters of your team members. But we tend to overlook our inner side. And personally, when what I discovered in myself when we'll do like the questionnaire we will go through shortly, is that I resist that I am not, for example, ready for socialization at the mean moment. So I tend to like risk my mental health just to achieve the outcome, which is not like, this is not the stage of like achieve outcomes in this current situation. So I have to first know my inner side, know my self-awareness, and after that being able to recognize indirect cues of other team members. So after that I can achieve the results and goals. So you can see here they like divided emotional intelligence into 4 components. Also, we will go into the details of it in our questionnaire, but it includes self-awareness, your inner self, self-management. Okay, you know, like you're impatient. How you're gonna manage yourself? After that, social awareness, which is the indirect cues by others. The relationship management, how you are in a conflict you're gonna manage. We have taken a long time in emotional intelligence, but it's very important component, and we will go into details in the questionnaire. Second part of self-awareness is locus of control. So it's a spectrum ranging from inner to external. If you're a kind of person, you face external challenge, you feel like you are eager to solve your problems by yourself. You feel you are, yes, there are challenges, but I will be able to control the situation. So you have an internal locus of control. If whenever you pass a situation, you feel I did my best, I will like surrender, things are out of my control, this is my destiny, you're having an external locus of control. But bear in mind, internal from like our discussion doesn't mean it's better than external. Each has, like, as I told you, it's a spectrum. And if you have an internal, doesn't mean that in some situation you're gonna like sweep to the external side. So be flexible to move along this locus of control. So for example, when you are in a university and you have a team project, if you're a kind of person with internal locus of control, as myself, you will suffer a little bit. Why? Because you feel you will not trust the contribution of your team members. So you want all the responsibilities to be in you. So whenever you're in a team project at school, and the purpose of this team project is to not only learn team working, but it's to like make you have the capacity to have an external locus of control, to try to trust others. So when you shift or delegate these responsibilities, you will feel uncomfortable, you will feel a little bit of an anxiety. And I'm a better example for this, because whenever in a team, it's something like out of my control to not trust others, how they will contribute to the teamwork or our project. So I try to overcome it by like, I have the knowledge now that when I like slide along this spectrum to delegate work to others, to try to adopt the external locus of control mood, I will feel an anxiety. So I acknowledge it in myself and try to know it's only temporary. So as I told you, internal is not better than external. It's just differences, and you will not stick to a position on this spectrum for your whole life. With situations, you will differ. Lastly is the tolerance for ambiguity. Actually ambiguity like has three like different situations. This ambiguity is complex situations, whether it's unfamiliar situation, and whether it's unsolvable. Unsolvable means like a situation no one reached like a consensus on it before, so it's unsolvable. We don't know an answer to it. It's very like not, I don't want to say it's complex, it's very like unsolvable, we don't know how to get out of it. While complex, they are solvable, but they require a lot of thinking and integration and coordination. Of course, unfamiliar situations, just we pass through a new situation for the first time. So I will share my screen with another these are like in more or less informal questionnaire. If you need them, I can send it to you later, but these are not the ones we will go through now. So let me share my other screen. Are you having your let me see, paper and pen? Okay. So we will start with the first questionnaire, which is emotional intelligence. Depending on the time and how you are like able to concentrate, we'll see you want to progress further or not. Let me see. Okay. So we have the emotional intelligence questionnaire is formed of 12 questions. I would like to number them in your paper, and for each question, you will choose A, B, and C. Then in the end, we will know if I chose A, what does it mean, and what are my areas of strengths and weaknesses. If you're ready, would you just confirm? Let me zoom in if you would like. Okay. So I will read it out loud so you can't like just able to concentrate and like pay attention to the numbering, because we will do some like calculations in the end in upcoming questionnaires. So when I get really upset, I analyze why I'm so disturbed, blow up and let off steam, hide it and remain calm. And upon the instructions above, like give a spontaneous answer. What will be the first thing you will do? And remember, whatever the results, they are just estimates. It's not like diagnosing, or like it will not be like stigmatizing yourself. It just discover yourself. We all like have strengths and weaknesses. When you're ready to like go to the upcoming questions, let me know. Okay. Second one, in a situation in which a colleague takes credit in public for my work and my ideas, I would probably let it slide and do nothing in order to avoid a confrontation. Later in private, indicate that I would appreciate being given credit for my work and ideas. Thank the person in public for referencing my work and ideas, and then elaborate on my contributions. What is the first action you will do? If you need more time, just let me know. Okay, let's go to the third question. When I approach another person and try to scribe up a conversation, but the other person does not respond, I try to cheer up the person by sharing a funny story, ask the person if he or she wants to talk about what is on his or her mind, leave the person alone and find someone else to talk to. Okay. When I enter a social group I usually remain quiet and wait for people to talk to me. Try to find something complimentary I can tell someone. Find ways to be the life of the party or the source of energy and fun. Take your time to think. Okay, let me. Okay, are you all following? So we are now in question 5, right? So on important issues, I usually make up my own mind and ignore others' opinions, weigh both sides and discuss it with others before making a decision, listen to my friends or colleagues and make the same decisions they do. This one is tricky. Anyone needs more time? Okay. So when someone that I don't particularly like becomes romantically attracted to you, I usually tell the person directly I'm not interested, respond by being friendly but cool or aloof, ignore the person and try to avoid him or her. Okay. Question 7. When I'm in the company of two people who have dramatically opposing opinions of you about an issue, for example, politics, abortion, war, and are arguing about it, I find something upon which they can both agree and emphasize it, encourage the verbal battle, suggest that they stop arguing and calm down. And when I went through this question and when I was solving it, I discovered that culture has an important impact when we approach such situations. So for example, I find myself, if I am in a certain culture, I will behave so. If I'm in a different culture, I will behave so. So just think of the first answer, the actions that you are likely gonna take, but we know whenever culture change, definitely your response will change. Okay, going to question 8. When I'm playing a sport and the game comes down to my last second performance, I get very nervous and hope that I don't choke. See this as an opportunity to shine, stay focused and give it my best effort. We are almost there. Just a few more questions. Let's go next. In a situation in which I have an important obligation and need to leave work early, but my colleagues ask me to stay to meet a deadline, I would probably cancel my obligation and stay to complete the deadline, exaggerate a bit by telling my colleagues that I have an emergency that I can't miss, require some kind of compensation for missing the obligation. Also, this was one of the questions that I really felt it had cultural differences. Three more questions. In a situation in which another person becomes very angry and begins yelling at me, I get angry in return. I don't take that from anyone. Walk away. It doesn't do any good to argue. Listen first and then try to discuss the issue. Okay, are you ready? Okay. When I encounter someone who has just experienced a major loss or tragedy, I really don't know what to say or do. Tell the person I feel very sorry and try to provide support. Share a time when I experienced a similar loss or tragedy. Also, I found these questions really relate to your industry. So for example, mine is healthcare. So you are usually trained to develop certain response in such situations. So whatever is your answer, it doesn't mean that this will be your approach forever. Definitely your industry will impact that. When someone makes a racist joke or tells a crude story about a member of opposite sex in mixed company, I usually point out this is inappropriate and not acceptable, and then change the subject. Ignore it so I don't cause a scene. Get really upset and tell the person just what I think of what he or she said. Okay, we are done with our first questionnaire. Let's check the results. Are you ready? So remember, I told you emotional intelligence has 4 aspects. The first one is emotional awareness. So we will not go through the questions by numbering. We'll start first with 1, then we skip to 5. This group of questions will diagnose you in terms of your emotional awareness. So let's focus on the first question, emotional awareness, number 1. Only alternative A indicates that you are aware of what is going on inside emotionally. So just write a note in your paper to clarify if you didn't pick up A, you are not yet aware of what is going inside. As I told you, there's no correct and wrong answer about discovering self. Going to question 5. And also, by the way, I would recommend if you take like your score. So if you answered question 1 with an A, put 10. B or C, just put 0. Question 5. I know like there's a lot of work on the paper. Question 5. If you answered it A, put 5. B, put 10. C, put 0. Let's go to the explanation. A may be okay if you are clear about your priorities, but B indicates that you are aware of possible alternative points of view. I know you have like lots of writing to do, so whenever you're ready, just tell me. Okay, see, Michael has finished. Question 9. As you can see, if you like chose C, it will be 10 points. Only C indicates that you are aware of your own emotional reactions and will require compensation for the inevitable upset it will create. So the answers we have reached so far are diagnosing your emotional awareness. So from like the points we have discussed, you are more likely discovered how much you are emotionally aware of yourself or not. Going to emotional control. So you discovered yourself. Will I be able to control what I really discovered in myself? So going back to question 2, give yourself the score. So C implies that you are confident enough to handle the situation on the spot. B confronts the issue, but not in the presence of those affected. If I remember correctly, this was a question when someone accredited a work, your own work, to himself. Going to question 6, try to do the scoring. A takes 10, B takes 5. So A is honest if it is done skillfully and avoids being harsh. B relies on the other person getting an indirect hint. So sharing with my own results. So usually, I guess I got like 0 in this question because like indirect hints, this aspect of emotional intelligence I'm usually not good at. Going to question 10. So A and B takes 0, C takes 10. it clearly demonstrates your emotional control. So we have finished the emotional control, which means you discovered your emotion. Will you be able to manage it or control it? Let's go to emotional intelligence when we have other people in the situation, which is emotional diagnosis or empathy. So question 3, if you answered A, it will take 5. If you answered B, it will take 10. A may be appropriate in some circumstances, but alternative B indicates sensitivity to a possible emotional issue on the part of the other person. So you are like showing empathy and able to recognize like emotions of others. Let's go to question 7. Pay attention to be following with the numbers. Question 7, A takes 10, B takes 5. A indicates an ability to recognize different emotions, but to not let them get carried away. B acknowledges different emotional perspectives, but may engender bad feelings or emotional causalities. C doesn't acknowledge the different emotional commitments. Just 2 more, like, I guess we have like approaching to an end with this questionnaire. So question 11, only B takes 10 points. B emphatically acknowledges the other person's feeling. So we have finished, I guess, yes, we have finished the empathy part. The last 3 questions remaining to score them is 4. If you have chosen A or C in question 4, it indicates that you are not sensitive to the emotional climate of the group and your behavior may be inappropriate. Question 8, B takes 5 points. It means maybe appropriate if it's a sign of nurses, but C is clearly an indication of emotional control. So we are focusing now on the response. So you recognized your inner self, you managed to control it, but how you will respond to prove your control. So we are in question 12, the last one now. If you have chosen A, it will take 10 points, C, it will take 5 points. So B implies losing emotional control, A means remaining under control. So we have finished the first questionnaire. Okay, so we forgot to do the calculation. So if you have done it like by yourself or will do it later by yourself, you can know from your score whether you are in the top quartile or the 3rd quartile. It differs, but this is the likely results of your like location in the among people. So let's go to the locus of control. Remember, whether you are internal locus of control, so you are in charge and in control of whatever external challenges you will go through, or external where you feel everything is out of my control. So we have around 29 questions. Just pick A or B. I will try to keep it down in my screen so your like vision will still be able to concentrate. So question 1. A, leaders are born, not made. B, leaders are made, not born. Just the first thought that comes to your mind. Question 2. People often succeed because they are in the right place at the right time. Success is mostly dependent on hard work and ability. Question 3. When things go wrong in my life, it's generally because I have made mistakes. Misfortunes occur in my life regardless of what I do. Question 4. Whether there is war or not depends on the actions of certain world leaders. It's inevitable that the world will continue to experience wars. Question 5. Good children are mainly products of good parents. Some children turn out bad no matter how their parents behave. Question 6. My future success depends mainly on circumstances I can't control. I am the master of my fate. Question 7. History judges certain people to have been effective leaders mainly because circumstances made them visible and successful. Effective leaders are those who have made decisions or taken actions that resulted in significant contributions. Question 8. Avoid punishing children guarantees that they will grow up irresponsible. Spanking children is never appropriate. Question 9. I often feel that I have little influence over the direction of my life is taking. It's unreasonable to believe that the fate or luck plays a crucial part in how my life turns out. Let's go to question 10. Some customers will never be satisfied no matter what you do. You can satisfy customers by giving them what they want when they want it. Might need some time to think. Question 11. Anyone can get good grades in school by working hard enough. Some people are never going to excel in school no matter how hard they try. Question 12. Good marriages result when both partners continually work on the relationship. Some marriages are going to fail because the partners are just incompatible. Let's continue. So, question 13. I'm confident that I can improve my basic management skills through learning and practice. It's a waste of time to try to improve management skills in a classroom. Question 14. More management skills courses should be taught in business schools. Less emphasis should be put on skills in business schools. Question 15. When I think back on the good things that happened to me, I believe they happened mainly because of something I did. The bad things that have happened in my life have mainly resulted from circumstances outside my control. Question 16. Many exams I took in school were unconnected to the material I had studied, so studying hard didn't help at all. When I prepared well for exams in school, I generally did quite well. Going to question 17, I am sometimes influenced by what my astrological chart says. No matter how the stars are lined up, I can determine my own destiny. Let's go to question 18. Government is so big and I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. That is very difficult for any one person to have any impact on what happens. Single individuals can have a real influence on politics if they will speak up and let their wishes be known. Bureaucratic, yeah. Let's go to 19. People seek responsibility in work People try to get away when doing as little as they can. Question 20. The most popular people seem to have a special inherent charisma that attracts people to them. People become popular because of how they behave. So this is question 20. We are approaching to end this questionnaire. Question 21. Things over which I have little control just seem to occur in my life. Most of the time, I feel responsible for the outcomes I produce. 22. Managers who improve their personal competence will succeed more than those who do not improve. Management success has very little to do with the competence possessed by the individual manager. We are in 22. Ready? Okay, question 23. Teams that win championships in most sports are usually the teams that, in the end, have the most luck. More often than not, teams that win championships are those with the most talented players and the best preparation. We are in 23 now. Question 24. Teamwork in business is a prerequisite to success. Individual effort is the best hope for success. Question 25. Some workers are just lazy and can be motivated to work hard no matter what you do. If you are a skillful manager, you can motivate almost any worker to put forth more effort. Just 4 more questions. Question 26. In the long run, people can improve this country's economic strength through responsible action. The economic health of this country is largely beyond the control of individuals. I am persuasive when I know I am right. I can persuade most people even when I'm not sure I am right. 28. I tend to plan ahead and generate steps to accomplish the goals that I have set. I seldom plan ahead because things generally turn out okay anyway. Last question. Some things are just meant to be. We can't change anything in our lives by hard work, persistence, and ability. So I guess the calculations of this part, yeah, I guess it will turn out easily. Let me see. Yeah. So just focus on the screen. Try to follow by your eyes if you have selected the following answers. So if you selected 2 to be A, just count how many answers that are along with those on the screen. And remember, there are no right or wrong answers. They are just discovering self. Ready? You have finished? Oh, awesome.
Yes, I'm done.
So these are the quartile scores. If you wanna keep your own one, how many answers that are along with answers above. So this is only just to know at which part of the spectrum you are located. When I first answered this, actually my scores were shocking. So I found I had weakness points that I didn't expect, and I have strengths that I didn't expect. So it's totally okay. I know it's mentally exhausting. It took me 2 days to solve them. So you're doing a great job, and that you are able to concentrate to this point. Okay, we have a final questionnaire, which is tolerance to ambiguity. it will need more effort. You prefer to send it to solve later, or you are able to concentrate? Okay, Michael is in. Okay, I'm not seeing the chat, but I'm assuming you would like to proceed. So we will have, let's count. We will have 16 questions, and you will have to select from 1 to 7, depending on how much you disagree or agree. So if you want to keep like a note or a draft that 1 means strongly disagree, 2 moderately, because as we go down, maybe the screen will not be apparent to us. Okay, so let's start our final questionnaire, which is tolerance to ambiguity. Number 1, an expert who doesn't come up with a definitive answer probably doesn't know too much. And remember to keep like numbering of the question, not mix it up with the score you have given, because we will do like some math here. Question 2, I would like to live in a foreign country for a while. Question 3, there is really no such thing as a problem that can't be solved. Remember, you are choosing from a rating scale from 1 to 7. So just whenever you feel comfortable with 1, choose it. Question 4, people who fit their lives to a schedule probably miss most of the joy of living. Question 5, a good job is one where what is to be done and how it's to be done are always clear. Question 6, it's more fun to tackle a complicated problem than to solve a simple one. So it's more fun. Seven, in the long run, it's possible to get more done by tackling small, simple problems rather than large and complicated ones. Eight, often the most interesting and stimulating people are those who do not mind being different and original. Okay, let me take it upward. We are going to question 10 now. People who insist upon a yes or no answer just do not know how complicated things really are.
Oh, yeah.
I missed a
question 9.
question. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for just giving. So we are now in question 9. Okay, the ones that I skipped. So please like correct any. Question 9. What we used to is always preferable to what is unfamiliar. So I'll give you like some time to correct any numbering you have done because of this confusion. So up till now, you should have ended the first 10 questions. If you want to check the correct numbering on your paper. Let's go to question 11. A person who leads
Are we on question 10?
Yeah, this is the one that I just mixed it up. So up till now, try to have the 10 questions answered. Okay?
Okay.
Michael, you're following?
Yeah, I'm on number 10 then. People
Okay.
who insist.
Yeah, so try to all up to this moment answer question 10s and double check that the numbering are correct on your papers. Okay, Michael, are you still following?
Yeah, I'm on number 10. Now going to number 11.
Okay, let's start 11. A person who leads an even, regular life in which few surprises or unexpected happenings arise really has a lot to be grateful for. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Let's go to 12. Many of our most important decisions are based upon insufficient information. This is 12. 13. I like parties where I know most of the people more than ones where all or most of the people are complete strangers. Okay, let's go to 14. Teachers or supervisors who hand out vague assignments give one a chance to show initiatives and originality. So far you should have answered 14 questions. Yes, we are almost done. Yeah, so 15, the sooner we all acquire similar values and ideals, the better. This is 15. Last question. A good teacher is one who makes you wonder about your way of looking at things. So up to this point, you should have answered 16 questions completely with a scale of 1 to 7 just by your side. I would recommend that you have another pen with a different color because it will need some calculations. So let's see. I remember I spent a lot of time to figure out how to solve it, like doing my calculation. So in the scoring system, the even numbered items must be reversed. That is 7. If you answered someone as 7, convert it to 1. If you answer one as 6, convert it to 2. So it's like doing -7. Like minus. Just try to reverse your scores. I know it's confusing. I did mine wrong the first time. So if you want to just keep this note, you don't have to do the calculations now, because I guess we are all you feel like you're not able to concentrate, but just keep a note that novelty score, complexity score, and solubility score, write down the questions number who reflect how we are tolerant to novelty situations or complexity situations. So yeah, I would recommend at this moment to just write down on your paper this part, and not to forget with complexity scores add number 15 because they have missed putting it here. Then after you do your calculations later, you will discover what is your tolerance to ambiguity. So to share a personal experience, when I made this score, I discovered that I had I used to think that some areas are my point of strength. Then I discovered no, for example, emotional intelligence has different aspects beneath. So when you get a deeper understanding of the title, which is self-awareness or tolerance to ambiguity, you will discover that no, I'm not yet competent in this part yet. So never be frustrated. I managed, for example, for someone who having weak score in situational awareness with emotional intelligence, I train myself that whenever I am in a situation, yes, I miss to recognize indirect cues from other, but at least I'm able to diagnose the mistake when I go through the situation itself. So hopefully in the future, I will work on that and it will turn out to be my strength. Yes, we are done. So just a few recapping words. I guess that as a leader, if you're not in a formal position, never think that you will not need the leadership skills. They are imperative and you need to develop them to lead yourself on the personal level and to lead yourself in the career perspective. Thanks for your active contribution and being able to concentrate. You're amazing, guys. When I was in your place, it took me 2 days to try to understand the questions deeply. Thank you.